For the last few weeks, after India temporarily halted kinetic action against Pakistan, the Congress and its ecosystem have been claiming that Prime Minister Modi is subservient to the United States President Trump. That Prime Minister Modi folds in the face of Trump's pressure. But what we heard today from Odisha has the potential of punching a gaping hole in that carefully orchestrated myth. Recalling his conversation from a few days ago, the Prime Minister told his listeners that he declined, politely but firmly, an invitation from the American president for a meeting in Washington, D.C. on his way back from Canada because he had other priorities. Listen in.
साथियों, अभी 2 दिन पहले मैं कनाडा में G7 समिट के लिए वहां था और अमेरिका के राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप ने मुझे फोन किया। उन्होंने कहा कि अब कनाडा तो आए ही हैं तो वॉशिंगटन होकर के जाइए, साथ में खाना खाएंगे, बातें करेंगे। उन्होंने बड़े आग्रह से निमंत्रण दिया। मैंने अमेरिका के राष्ट्रपति को कहा कि आपका निमंत्रण के लिए धन्यवाद, मुझे तो महाप्रभु की धरती पर जाना बहुत जरूरी है और इसलिए मैंने उनके निमंत्रण को नम्रतापूर्वक मना किया और आपका प्यार, महाप्रभु की भक्ति मुझे इस धरती पर खींच करके ले आई है।
Viewers, that the Prime Minister is going on record to say this is a bold statement of defiance. Trump is an egotist who isn't used to and doesn't even like to take no for an answer. And Trump especially doesn't like to see anyone publicly suggesting that he has been snubbed. But Modi has done that. The question is why? This is because Prime Minister Modi is clearly sending a message to the likes of Rahul Gandhi and the Congress ecosystem that supports him. That the Prime Minister, that he himself is his own man. Rahul Gandhi has been implying otherwise. And let me refresh your mind on this. So viewers, this is what Rahul Gandhi said. He said a call came from Trump and Narendra ji immediately surrendered. Narendra ji followed Trump saying, Narendra, surrender, by saying, yes, sir. This is what Rahul Gandhi, the LOP, said, viewers, a few days ago. This is now the second instance in 3 days when the Prime Minister has let it be known that he has stood up to Trump. A few days back, in the same conversation which lasted 35 minutes, the Prime Minister said, setting the record straight with Trump, telling him in no uncertain terms, clearly, that America had no role in brokering the ceasefire between India and Pakistan. In fact, he's never called it a ceasefire, he's always called it a temporary cessation of hostilities. And most importantly, that India will never accept mediation either. So now we ask, can the Congress and the ecosystem provide concrete, the operative word here is concrete evidence that Modi bows to Washington or Trump? How can the India bloc repeatedly claim that Trump's wish is Modi's command? Isn't it now clear that India's foreign policy under Prime Minister Modi is confident, sovereign, and rooted in defense of the national interest? Let's open this up, viewers, without further ado. And I want to bring in straight away Nikhil Jain, who's an advocate, who's a sympathizer of the Congress party. We also have Syed Asad Abbas, a political analyst. We have the national spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party, Shahzad Poonawala, and of course Tushar Gupta, journalist. None of these individuals need any introduction. I want to first begin with Nikhil Jain. Mr. Jain, I asked a very simple question, and pay attention to it. After this remark, this second remark, making it very clear that the Prime Minister brooks no pressure, from the United States or from Trump, how can the Congress and its ecosystem suggest otherwise? And if it continues to do so, can it provide concrete evidence that Modi bows to Washington or Trump's diktats?
Rahul, if you permit me, I'd like to share a very small anecdote with your viewers. So when I was in class 9, there was this fellow in my class. He had a best friend in the form of Devinder. Once he had a fight with a Parminder. And when he had that fight with Parminder, Devinder came to Parminder's rescue. Devinder beat up my classmate. And you know what my classmate did? He went around the entire class telling everybody that he is the one who beat up Devinder. While the entire school, everybody knew that it was my friend Narendra who was beaten up. That is why everybody for the next 4 years called him Narendra Surrender. Now, if I look at it in retrospect, I think we would have respected him more had he had the courage to tell everybody, yes, I did have a skirmish with Devinder, but I was beaten up, and that's all right. And that's the point that I wanted to make. When the Congress party says that our Prime Minister bows down before President Trump, of course, there cannot be any concrete proof to that, but it is evident for the world to see. The Prime Minister who was giving his bhashan in English at the time of Operation Sindoor in Bihar today very cleverly chooses Hindi when he wants to make a point about Donald Trump. Let's not forget, Donald Trump is a man who needs an Indian accent English to an American accent English translator. Let's not pretend that Donald Trump is going to pay heed to anything that Narendra Modi or anybody in this country says in a political rally in Hindi. The fact is, we expect the Prime Minister to courageously come out and say, no, Donald Trump did not intervene. He does not have the right to do that. We are a strong country. We've always maintained that Kashmir is a bilateral issue, and we will talk to Pakistan on our own terms. Nobody is going to come out and dictate to us. But sadly, President Trump keeps on doing that. It's said that 15 times. The whole world is listening to him. He's inviting Asif Munir, the field marshal, so-called field marshal of Pakistan, and doing a private dinner with him. He's hyphenating India and Pakistan. He's saying Pakistan is a great nation. He's saying Asif Munir is a great guy. So is my dear friend Narendra Modi. But that's not how it should be.
Okay.
We have to look at how the world sees us.
Okay. Now, viewers, I said, can the Congress or those that defend the Congress provide concrete evidence? What did I get? Some sophomoric schoolboy story riddled with rhetoric and an individual who thinks that diplomacy is a skirmish. These are his words, not mine. A skirmish, viewers. They reduce it to a skirmish and goes on to then say, and this is the bizarrest aspect of it, viewers, that diplomacy must also be a zero-sum game. That Trump must take permission from others before he invites anyone else. Because you can see how hollow this argument actually is. If there was evidence, the Congress would have produced it. And then, viewers, Modi would have been cornered. But nonetheless, let me bring in Shahzad Poonawalla to respond. The three basic issues that the Congress is raising, Mr. Poonawalla, are the following. Number one, that why does Trump constantly come out and suggest that he's the broker of the peace and that he still continues, even though I think this time he hasn't, but that's something that will escape the Congress. They might selectively leave that out, but nonetheless, that's one point. Secondly, most importantly, they say, why doesn't Narendra Modi come out and say that I showed, basically, what should I say now? That I basically contradicted Mr. Trump. I told him where to get off the ramp. And thirdly, most importantly, why hasn't the Prime Minister come out clearly and said, look, I got beat up, but I tried my best? I'm sorry, these are the arguments and these are the questions that they're asking.
Rahul, let's start with your last question first. At the time of surgical strike, DGMO announced it. Did they believe it? At the time of Balakot airstrike, the armed forces announced it. Did they believe it? At the time of Operation Sindoor, there is video evidence that the 9 terrorist camps and 11 plus bases, 20 places have been hit. Have they believed it? They have called it should put surrender. They have called it failure, all kinds of things. Now, since he has spoken about schoolboy example, let me go a little earlier, because it was also Rahul's birthday yesterday, let me go to kindergarten ages and let me talk about a son of an Italian. No, I'm not talking about the one you're thinking. I'm talking about Pinocchio. Pinocchio, the son of an Italian, whenever Pinocchio lied, and I'm sure Rahul must have read it in his kindergarten days, his nose became longer. Last week has been the longest nose week for Congress party because they have become the political Pinocchio. G7 में invite नहीं आया था. US press release, digital fraud done by Jairam Ramesh when he shows a press release which was not released by United States government. Then they lied on caste census. Then they lied on Saudi Arabia cancelling work visas. They had lied on Rafale. Alok Sharma, Congress spokesperson, showed a fake tweet of ANI. Then they lied about HAL, LIC, SBI. They lied about Savarkar. They lied about Pegasus. They lied about Hindenburg. They lied about 2611 being done by Hindutva forces. They have lied about everything. This is the political Pinocchio nature of Congress party. But having said that, now let me come to the other point. The point is that when the DGMO, MEA, had said that, look, there was no mediation and intervention, they should have bought it then. But what did they say? They said कि एक बार मोदी बोल तो दे. मोदी ने बोला ही नहीं, मोदी ने जाकर ट्रंप को सीधा बोला कि boss, there is no scope for mediation, that Operation Sindoor is still on, गोली का जवाब गोले से मिलेगा, and how Pakistani DGMO has called us and they have begged for mercy because now act of terror is treated as act of war, not as proxy war. And forget Modi, they did not even believe Salman, Manish and Shashi Tharoor, who are their SMS. So now the two events have taken place in the last 24-48 hours. One, because they believe LOP means leader of Pakistani propaganda, one of the Pakistani ministers, the deputy prime minister, has made a very big admission. After Shahbaz Sharif, he has also admitted that we got badly hit, which means Operation Sindoor was very, very successful. Two, he has said that we not only spoke to the Americans, we begged to the Saudis. Now, logically, Rahul, if the Americans were having so much leverage on us and they were managing the ceasefire, why would these people speak to the Saudis? And then at the level of Saudis also, the consistent reply of India was that, look, if Pakistan has something to convey, they will convey through the direct channel, which eventually happened that their DGMO begged to us. Now I ask one more point. Today, Prime Minister Modi has clarified and said categorically that for us, the only Mahashakti, the only superpower is Mahaprabhu. And look at the attitude of the two nations. One nation is going begging and becoming a B team of the Americans. Okay. The other nation is standing steadfast and saying, I have commitments in Odisha, I have commitments in Croatia, I will do what serves my national interest. Which country seems to be under leverage? And lastly, because we were speaking about Devinder and Parminder and Jitinder, there is surrender in Congress's every calendar. 1971, Rahul, doesn't your heart bleed that we had 93,000 prisoners of war? Why didn't we take away POK and why didn't we take the Kartarpur Sahib? It has been answered by the United States State Department that the pressure was put by the United States on Indira Gandhi, Iron Lady. Then in 1974, which you have showed how we were offering nuclear technology. Then in 1985, Ronald Reagan directs Rajiv Gandhi what to do in terms of Pakistan. In 1968, Rahul, surrender. Look at what surrendered we did. 828 square kilometers was handed over to Pakistan after winning 65 war. And in 94, Rahul, indisputable fact that Tushar will testify, did we have our nuclear test in 94-95? Under whose pressure did we surrender? Right now, Nikhil is surrendering to fake news where they are trying to sell comb to a bald man.
Okay. That's
no personal intent.
No, I know. No pun intended, obviously. But that one understands. Now, I just want to ask you, and I want also Tushar Gupta to pay attention to this because Nikhil Jain, I want to ask you this question. When was the India-Pakistan relationship dehyphenated?
Rahul, nobody was at least putting us in the same boat for many, many decades, saying that Pakistan is a great country and India is a great country as well. And also, I have a very simple question for my friend.
One second. Just stop there. Just stop there. One second. No one was putting us in the same category. Viewers, let me tell you, there was an attack on Indian soil, the gravest, most devastating, 26/11. We all remember this, viewers. Within a few years of that, guess what? Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif is invited by President Barack Obama to discuss the sales of drones to Pakistan. Reaper Predator drones, viewers. Some of them might have even been used against India during Operation Sindoor. This was the definition of dehyphenation, viewers, that you were fed by an ecosystem that cheered the leader. Viewers, let me also tell you what the statement said, the readout of the president's meeting with Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. He says, you see, no one called Pakistan a great nation. This is what was said, viewers. Pakistan delivers progress for the Pakistani people and reinforces Pakistan's democracy and civil society. Viewers, the Obama and Nawaz Sharif were committed to a broad, sustainable and enduring partnership. This is how effective Congress's foreign policy was after, viewers, the gravest attack on Indian soil. Viewers, forget about America. Then Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh, and correct me if I'm wrong, Tushar Gupta, correct me if I'm wrong, met with a Pakistani Prime Minister who was quite transitory, if you remember.
Yes.
On Sharm el-Sheikh, which is in Egypt, which is a resort, if you please, viewers. Look at the symbolism. They met in resorts.
Egypt.
Resort diplomacy, viewers. I mean, how you want to trivialize the sacrifices of Indian Jawans, you go and meet at a resort, viewers. Not even in an official ground. No, a resort, town. And then what do? Can you tell us, Mr. Gupta, what happened? What happened in Sharm el-Sheikh? When you talk about hyphenation, who hyphenated whom and on what grounds?
Good evening, Rahul. Look, the problem is that the Congress today, led by the PJS Trinity, is in complete denial. Pawan Khera goes to a news show and says that Congress achieved success in its response to 26/11. But he doesn't answer, then why was the Pune bomb blast happening? Why was bomb blast in Delhi and Mumbai? He doesn't answer what happened in 2010 and 2011. In 2011, merely a year and a half after the Mumbai attacks, or two and a year and a half after the Mumbai attack, Pakistan was hosted, the entire leadership was hosted in Mohali on the eve of the semi-final of the World Cup by the same Manmohan Singh government. Did the terrorism stop? Absolutely not. Now, the problem, Rahul, is this entire narrative of Narendra surrender. This is not the Congress narrative. I even haven't found 10 MPs of the Congress that are endorsing this narrative. Even Priyanka Gandhi Vadra isn't endorsing this narrative from her brother, or from Supriya Shilnet, or Jairam Ramesh, or Pawan Khera. None of them are endorsing this. Forget what Manish Tiwari, Shashi Tharoor, or Salman Khurshid are doing. Nikhil Jain today cannot find me 10 MPs of the Congress who will say, yes, we agree that the Prime Minister surrendered before Donald Trump. Point number 3, and very important point. Tell me the last Prime Minister of India who rejected an invite from the American president. If we were to even believe that the Indian leadership was under some sort of pressure from the Americans, we would be obligated to accept their invite. We were not accepting that invite. The Prime Minister saw through that charade. Asim Munir was in Washington. The Prime Minister knew that Donald Trump was seeking another photo op. And finally, Nikhil Jain gave an analogy of Parminder, Devinder and Narendra from his school days, in which he stated that Narendra was beaten up by Parminder. Let's be very clear about our analogies here. Pakistan did not beat us in Operation Sindoor. Pakistan did not beat us in Operation Sindoor. Point, Nikhil. I did not interrupt you. I did not interrupt you. I did not interrupt you. Please behave. I did not interrupt you. Look, wrong analogies. Nikhil, if you are so sure of your opinion, own up now. Why are you hiding behind analogies? Speak up. Why are you hiding behind analogies?
I'm just telling
You're
a story
hiding behind
from my
analogies because you do not.
No, let's get back to the. No, hang on. Listen, this puerile analogy.
Yes.
We should just, cast it away. Let's get back to the substantive.
Yes.
And I have a substantive point to make. You see what happened at Sharm el-Sheikh, viewers, is that Pakistan was equated with India on a very important issue, on an axis, which was the sponsorship of terror. So, Dr. Manmohan Singh the Great came out and basically acceded to the fact that India was also, and Pakistan was also, a victim of terror. And you know what that did, viewers? That set the foundation. And when I talked about President Obama meeting with Prime Minister Sharif, In that statement, you know what was noted, viewers? And this is shocking. And I'll quote this statement. President Obama and Prime Minister Sharif noted that both the United States and Pakistan are threatened by terrorist groups. And that Pakistani people have suffered greatly. Viewers, what bigger slap in India's face than this? Can you believe it, viewers? This is the statement. President Obama and Prime Minister Sharif noted that both the United States and Pakistan are threatened by terrorist group and that the Pakistani people had suffered greatly. This, viewers, is called hyphenation. And let me tell you, viewers, this is important. And I want to ask Mr. Abbas, today you suggest that Prime Minister Modi surrenders to the Pakistanis. Let me ask you, do you know a gentleman called Mr. Navjot Sidhu? Do you know he was a Congress leader?
Still is.
And still is, sorry. Do you know he went with a former chief minister called Captain Amrinder Singh?
Who's now in the BJP.
Yes, because you know why? He was so ashamed of Sidhu. You know what Sidhu did, viewers? He hugged General Bajwa. He hugged General Bajwa, viewers, and he called Imran a Greek god. Imran, who was in bed and now is rotting in jail, in bed, viewers, with whom? With the Islamist fundamentalist groups and the ISI. He was their prop. Now, viewers, which party in this country, Mr. Abbas, is compromising India's sovereignty? You tell me. When you go and meet Ilhan Omar and take a photograph in the Holy of Holies, the American capital, then who is, and I'm talking about Rahul Gandhi, just a year back.
I will answer that.
Who is compromising India's sovereignty and hyphenating India with Pakistan? A lady who advocates for the right to self-determination for Kashmiri citizens, viewers. Now, Mr. Abbas, respond.
The fact of the matter we need to understand.
These are all
here,
facts.
and
You haven't brought a fact. So I'm saying, no, don't say fact on the matter. You show me a fact. You show me a fact that provide the concrete evidence that Modi bows to Washington or Trump. I've given you facts of the Congress bowing to anti-India elements. I'm giving you facts. Give me a fact.
You know, today, with great pride and honor, Rahul Sahab, let me tell you that Donald Trump, compared to Adanya Pradhan Mantri Modi ji of my beautiful country of India, Modi ji has a lot more credibility than a Donald Trump. A Donald Trump is a liar who can lie through its teeth. Whether his statement on Emmanuel Macron, trying to gain attention, or his brickbats with Elon Musk, or even recently about him dominating the Iran-Israel war.
And lying on the face of the South African president about a genocide that was happening against whites. He showed photographs. Those photographs turned out to be from another country. He's a liar. So then I'm asking you, if you concede this point, Mr. Abbas, do you think the Congress is right to believe a liar? They keep quoting a liar called Trump, not once, not twice, not thrice, not 4 times, not 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, 8 times, 9 times, 11 times, 12, 13 times.
I will answer that. I will answer that. There are no two ways about it. There is no bigger liar than a Donald Trump. I think even taking his invitation, unofficial invitation to come to US when a Pradhan Mantri Modi ji has a set itinerary. Why would he change for Donald Trump, a man who could be just candid and just say, come? This does not make absolute sense. So therefore, do not take Donald Trump too seriously. I'm sure this happened, but let us not take him seriously. But the fact of the matter, I would have greater pride and honor with Pradhan Mantri Modi ji is when he tweeted saying that he's the reason why India-Pakistan has stopped the war. He's the reason for the ceasefire. I would say my Pradhan Mantri Modi ji is a true Vishwaguru in its every sense when he retweeted us same front and said, Donald Trump or Donald Trump, this is a lie, which Modi ji did not do. Why couldn't Modi ji call out the lie?
Okay. Quick response. Shahzad Poonawalla wants to respond. I also want to bring to your attention.
This is a weird situation. And now, Syed Abbas, I have heard you out completely. Syed Abbas ji, maybe you should also see that it was not just Prime Minister Modi, but let me just make a point. Trump, by the way, also said in the same tweet that it's a 1,000-year war between India and Pakistan. So are you buying entire statement of Trump or just this part you like to selectively quote? The same Trump, by the way, please, sir, I do not interrupt you. Sir, I do not interrupt you. Please, you have to be patient. By the way, the calling out you are saying on tweet, Prime Minister has done it to his face because memory is short. In 2019, Donald Trump told Prime Minister, I can intervene in Jammu Kashmir. And at that time, Prime Minister said, no, thank you. And after that, we went and we abrogated Article 370. He has done it on the face. But people like you have short memory. Sir, I did not interrupt you. Nikhil, please do not do this. Don't make it difficult. Now, I will tell you that who has hyphenated not India, Pakistan, but Pakistan and Congress. Didn't Manishankar Iyer go with a begging bowl that Modi ko hatao? Who went to Pakistan? Manishankar Iyer. Secondly, B.K. Hari Prasad said that Pakistan is not enemy for us, it is enemy for BJP. This is B.K. Hari Prasad, currently a General Secretary. Thirdly, 370 dossier, Rahul Gandhi was printed on the first page of that dossier of Pakistan. Surgical strike denied and same narrative taken as Pakistan by Rahul Gandhi. Then on 26/11 you said Hindu terror and you gave Pakistan a clean sheet. Who is hyphenating Congress and Pakistan? And finally, Rahul, the biggest proof. Just now, just 10 seconds more, just let me put out a very big proof. I will show you what is actual surrender. I am quoting from a letter which was supposed to be secret from Ronald Reagan to Rajiv Gandhi, which has now been declassified. Point 1, secret entire text. Point 2, please forward the following message to Prime Minister in Rajiv Gandhi before he meets Zia, scheduled on 7th December. Then, the point is, I have you know my apprehensions regarding nuclear competition in the subcontinent. Your discussion with President Zia next week in Delhi can help set the agenda for peace. Sure. I understand that nuclear issues will figure prominently in your talks. You will continue to support regional efforts at achieving nuclear peace in the subcontinent. Ronald Reagan to Rajiv Gandhi. And Rajiv Gandhi then went ahead and did this meeting.
And I just want to...
Now, Mr. Nikhil Jain, please answer this.
Now I want Mr. Jain to respond. I have listed factually how the Congress itself, when it was in power, hyphenated India with Pakistan, gave America the leverage to even call Pakistan a victim of terror. Sir, with facts, show me one fact that hyphenates India with Pakistan. One fact, one hard fact.
Let me respond.
That Mr. Modi has contributed to this. In any which way.
Let me respond to each of the points point by point. 26/11, what did Obama say right after the 26/11 attacks? That India has a right to self-defense. Do we see a similar statement from the US establishment? We don't. What happened after 26/11? Right after, not years after, but
what are you saying?
In the months that followed.
Within hours, Mr. Trump said, how can I help you in seeking justice? Did you not read?
No.
What are you talking about?
That's not what Trump said.
Oh, no, you don't know. You don't know. Mr. Trump called the Prime Minister, one of the first people on earth to call the Prime Minister.
People from the BJP may be saying things.
What are you saying, sir? Get your facts right, Mr. Gupta.
Did he say something publicly? Did he say something publicly? All right, let me respond. If you feel that I'm factually inaccurate, Shehzad will take that on. Let me respond in terms of what I wanted to respond on. He talks about 93,000 prisoners of war, 1971 war. He's forgetting the fact that we broke Pakistan into two despite a stern warning or a threat from the US that we are sending the 7th Fleet. Indira Gandhi did not care about it, broke Pakistan into two, had a Bangladesh formed, a Bangladesh with which we had stellar relations until Modi ji stepped into the picture. 1974, Indira Gandhi.
Why didn't we get back POK?
One second.
Why didn't we get back POK?
One second. Nikhil Jain on this point, before you move forward. Nikhil Jain on this point. Sir, on this point. Nikhil Jain on this point. Babu Jagjeevan Ram and military leaders advised Indira Gandhi that now is the time to take POK and Kartarpur Sahib. Why did Indira Gandhi listen to Babu Jagjeevan Ram and the military leaders?
Very well.
And secondly, sir, before you go into very good mode, Rajiv Gandhi was directed by Ronald Reagan. And by the way, is Supriya Sule trustworthy?
Yes.
Supriya Sule says that the Indian Armed Forces ensured that there is a cessation of this kind of terrorism from Pakistan.
No, let me pull it out. Let me pull out that. 1 second. I just want to put it on record, viewers.
Single question.
Okay.
Question for Shehzad. The Pakistan DGMO called us begging, please war rukwa do, please stop kar do.
Yes.
Abhi POK क्यों नहीं मांग लिया उनसे? POK छोड़ो, मसूद अजहर मांग लेते.
This is it now, viewers. Let me, on that point, fact check coming. Mr. Jain's way. Clear fact check. Supriya Sule, viewers, on 10th May at 18 minutes past 8 o'clock. Remember, the cessation was to hit at 5:30 in the evening. So about 3 hours later says, congratulations to the Indian Army's triumph in securing a ceasefire. Your fearless bravery, resolute defense and objective of reaching peace and stability deserves a salute from every Indian. Jai Hind. So today when Rahul Gandhi goes the other way, viewers, and calls Modi, surrender Modi, for listening to his own army, DGMO, who are you insulting? You're insulting the armed forces. Mr. Gupta, final word to you before I move on.
You know, since we are talking about American leadership being the gospel of truth for the Congress, in December 1982, the same US leadership actually stated that Indira Gandhi had vetoed a military attack on Pakistan's nuclear infrastructure. This was the US intelligence. The Indian government denied it. Since Nikhiljan brought up Barack Obama also wrote in his book that Rahul Gandhi is like a kindergarten kid who wants to impress everyone but lacks the aptitude to master the subject. So if you're going to believe the American presidents, please believe this also. And number 3, Nikhil Jain is talking about all sorts of fictional scenarios where something was said, something was not said. Why is the Congress missing the forest for the trees? We have hit Pakistan across the length and breadth of his country, across its entire military infrastructure, breached its air defenses. Why is the Congress unwilling to acknowledge this? That is my question since day one.
Well, viewers, you see, you heard factual response.
You'll have to give me 20 seconds to complete my earlier retort. Shehzad also pointed out that in 1974, nuclear technology was willing to be given away. That was not the case. 2611, we did.
That was not the case. It's in Parliament.
Him. No,
it's a Parliament record, sir. Please read. Please, sir, come with some research.
Again,
Look, this show. No, it's done. It's done. I have to wrap out. I just want to make it very clear, viewers. I gave you factual information of how the Congress government hyphenated India with Pakistan. I would like somebody to challenge me on facts and give me 2 facts on how Modi's government hyphenated India with Pakistan. 2 facts, viewers. Facts. Facts. Not rhetoric. Facts. I leave it at this, viewers. Another very big story. Now, viewers, here's a question the Congress needs to answer. Does patriotism now make it uncomfortable? Shashi Tharoor, one of its most articulate members of parliament, has openly admitted that his party is not seeing eye to eye with him. This is what Tharoor has said. He's hinted at a rift. If the government demands, I'm always ready to render my services to the country. I had proudly done my duty as an Indian citizen. I have differences of opinion with some in the Congress leadership. You know what I am talking about, as some of those issues are in the public domain. I was not invited. He's talking about the campaign in Kerala Byport. When I came back after 16 days visit, there was no message. I do not go where I am not invited, unquote. This is Shashi Tharoor, Congress MP. Listen.
Yes, there may have been some differences with the leadership on some issues. Those can be sorted out in closed-door conversations, and I don't see any reason to discuss them now. Whatever is out there in the public domain is out there. We leave it there. But I can always discuss them in private when and if appropriate. So far, as I've said, no one has reached out to me. When I came back, there was no insistence, no missed call from the leadership saying I should come.
No missed call, he says, viewers. Tharoor is a very popular and well-heralded leader. His being disgruntled doesn't paint the Congress in a favorable light, and it would have been prudent, perhaps, for Congress managers to bridge the rift. But the party is not making any effort. In fact, it chided the leader today. The Kerala Pradesh Congress Committee chief has come out and said he was otherwise too busy, I think. He was abroad with other responsibility. All other leaders had come there and cooperated with us to campaign in the by-elections, unquote. This is Sunny Joseph, KPCC chief, viewers. Why does the Congress suspect Tharoor's loyalty? Is it because he dared to put India first? Because he dared to praise Prime Minister Modi when national interests were served? Here are examples when Tharoor has batted for India and the Congress has differed with his assessment. Let me run you through some of these examples. These are facts, viewers, undisputable. On June 4th, viewers, Tharoor came out and said, churlish to ignore Prime Minister's inclusive outreach. The Congress view was PM has blatantly and brazenly used communal language, symbols and allusions. This is when Jairam Ramesh viewers had differed with Tharoor. On 17th July 2023, Tharoor's view, Tharoor said Prime Minister Modi's outreach to Islamic world is exemplary. The Congress differed. It says that Modi's diplomacy, it questioned that. It also questioned the grand welcome to Saudi Crown Prince after Pakistan's bonhomie. In February 15, 2025, Tharoor came out and said even Trump praised Prime Minister Modi's negotiation skills. This is right when the Prime Minister returned after bilateral talks, the last round. The Congress said, or at least Kharge said, that this is not right. Shashi Tharoor has breached the disciplinary code. March 2025, Tharoor highlighted Prime Minister's unique diplomacy with Russia and Ukraine. The Congress said strong action against those who speak against party interests. So there has been a clash of views, viewers, and I don't need to tell you that the Congress has always viewed both the negotiations with Trump as being absolutely one-sided and, of course, the Prime Minister's diplomacy, the ability to reach out across aisles to different players in the world as ineffective. Trump did not mediate. That process is structured and looks very different, said Shashi Tharoor, differing with his own party, who called Modi's conversations allegedly with President Trump a surrender. You know all of that, viewers. I don't need to take you over that ground. So the question is Congress so blinded by Modi hate that even acknowledging national progress becomes a betrayal? Is this the same party that once led India's freedom struggle, now allergic to statesmanship and obsessed with scoring political points, even at the cost of the country's image? If a leader can't speak truth without being punished, what does that say about the Congress? Has it become a reflexive, compulsive critic so bitter that even patriotism is now suspect? Let's open this up, viewers. Let's go straight across and let me pose this question to Mr. Nikhil Jain, who is the Congress national spokesperson. We also have with us Rashid Kidwai, and of course we have with us Sanjeev Srivastav and another political stakeholder, the national spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party, Shahzad Poonawala. So, Nikhil Jain, you heard my questions. This is worrying. This is, a sort of loss of statesmanship on the part of the Congress. There is constructive criticism, and that criticism is well accepted, but this is veering a little bit towards bitter, obsessive political point scoring. That even when someone is giving the government its due for doing a good job, you take umbrage.
First of all, Rahul, I want to make it clear to your viewers, I'm not an official spokesperson of the Congress party. I'm merely a supporter. Secondly, to answer the important question that you posed, I don't think that is the Congress party being obsessive. That is the Congress party showing the spirit of democracy that exists within the party, that you have a Shashi Tharoor who may have one view on a certain thing, you have an Udit Raj who may have another view on a certain thing, and that's how it should be in a democracy. It's perfectly all right for Congress leaders, or for that matter, BJP leaders, to have different views on the same topic with each other. Of course, the difference is that the BJP doesn't let a different view come out, and in the Congress party, it is all out for all to see. And I think that we should be more embracing of something like this. So far as the charges on Dr. Tharoor are concerned, that he's been batting for the government a little too much, and it's not just batting for the government, but a particular political party is concerned. I think that started with the fact when Dr. Tharoor went abroad and said that we had never conducted surgical strikes before the 2016 surgical strikes, which was wrong. Of course, he did issue a clarification later on that I was saying surgical strikes in context of retaliating against a terror attack. There he was right. But what people in India first heard was as if India had never done a surgical strike before 2016, which was not the case. We all remember Operation Ginger from 2011. There were multiple surgical strikes during the Vajpayee era, then during the Manmohan Singh era. So I think that is broadly the difference here. So far as him not being included in that campaigning for a by-election in the Kerala state is concerned, I don't think there is much to read into it, for the simple reason that you already have a strong candidate there. Dr. Tharoor has wished the candidate well. You do have Priyanka Gandhi, who's an MP from the Kerala, the Congress.
Mr. Jain, on that point, I beg to differ, because I'm going to just quote Mr. Tharoor. He said, I didn't get a missed call. So he's punning on the word missed call. I wasn't missed. I didn't get a call. You claim that I was on the list. I was here in India for 15 days. No one called me to campaign. You may think you don't need Mr. Tharoor, that's a different matter. But Tharoor believes that he would have been instrumental, and then the KPCC fellow says that, look, Sunny Joseph says that, look, we had him as a star campaigner. So there's obviously something amiss here, and Mr. Tharoor is not somebody who shoots his mouth off. And also, let me just quickly correct you, Mr. Jain, that this precedes the latest gap in perception. We are going back now to February 15, 2025, when the Prime Minister was praised by Shashi Tharoor for tackling Trump very well. You know what your Congress party said. The Congress party came out and was extremely critical of the way the Prime Minister conducted himself with Mr. Trump in the White House. Even on the question of surrender, Narendra, you know there have been big differences, which is of course this extant point. And I don't see the democracy in the party because a large number of people have been removed from their posts or have been sidelined or have had to leave because they challenged the status quo or expressed a view that challenged a particular line of thinking. There's Sanjay Jha, a colleague of yours, you know he's been suspended. There are several others. So very quickly respond to that. I want to bring in Shahzad Poonawala. Why does the BJP see it differently? That'll be something interesting to hear. Yeah.
So, Rahul, I would like to beg to differ that people have been sidelined from the party or removed just because they held a different view. And let's look at the so-called G23 that happened. You had a Bhupinder Singh Hooda there who was given the charge of the Haryana Congress because he was a mass leader. He held political utility, whatever the results may have been, but he was one of the tallest leaders of the Congress in Haryana. And the party high command did favor him there. But when you talk about somebody like an RPN Singh or somebody like Murli Deora, Milind Deora's son, Milind Deora, people like them did not have a very strong local ground connect, which is why they did not have much political utility for the party, which is also why a lot of them felt sidelined. Let's not forget that a lot of these people leaving the Congress party saying that we have not been given enough are the same people who were made MPs at the age of in their early 30s, who were made ministers in their late 30s. They've gotten all from the party and perhaps they've now just felt entitled.
So you're
that
saying
they should get it all,
that performance only pays in the Congress. That's what you're basically saying, that people who don't perform are sidelined and then they leave because they're no of utility, right? That's what you're saying. Funny viewers that this doesn't apply, funny viewers that this doesn't apply to a certain set of people in the party that have always clambered up through the Rajya Sabha, who, as you know, viewers, have taken the party from loss to loss. But I'm not going to stand in the way of you and the BJP's point of view. Why does the BJP believe that Tharoor is getting a raw deal in the Congress, that there's this perception that Parivar is put first and not patriotism? This is what some of the BJP national spokespeople have been saying, including you, Shahzad Poonawala. Can you explain?
Rahul, I hope that Nikhil Jain will show some patience when I make my points, because I heard him patiently. You know, when somebody talks about democracy within Congress, I feel the most assaulted, because Rahul, exactly 8 years ago, and you remember the first interview I had given after I had demanded fresh and free and fair elections within the Congress party, after which I was booted out, was to you on your previous platform. So I am the Bhukt Bhogi of the so-called democracy of Congress party, just like Sanjay Jha is. Sanjay Jha was in suspended mode, I was in expulsion mode. And Rahul, we are coming close to the 50 years of emergency. So for somebody to say with straight face that Congress believes in democracy, you have to be high on some kind of substance. I don't know what that is. Anyways, let us also take the example of Lakshman Singh, who called out Rahul Gandhi's anti-national stand. He was shown the door. We have also seen the example of Ankita Datta. She made a very grave charge that her modesty was outraged by an office bearer. Instead of standing with her, the office bearer was protected, and Ankita Datta, a daughter of Assam, was thrown out of the party. So that is about the democracy part. Now let me come to the real reason why this is done. Shashi Tharoor has done triple strike. First strike is that he has put nation above Parivar. Second strike is that he has exposed Pakistan. And third strike, Rahul, one thing you have forgotten in your opening package, he has challenged the authority of Parivar when he put his nomination for the candidacy of the presidency against Mallikarjun Kharge, who was the chosen Parivari candidate. These 3 strikes means you are out of the party or you become persona non grata, and therefore today, and Udit Raj, who's by the way an import from the BJP, is calling a 4-time MP super pravakta of BJP. Matlab hypocrisy bhi ho to kis prakar ki hypocrisy. Now thirdly, dear friend of mine Nikhil Jain has made certain points, although it needs to be responded. He has said we have done a lot of surgical strikes. You know, there are 5 figures of 5 different surgical strikes that have been done. Rahul Gandhi said we have done 3, somebody said we have done 12, somebody said we have done 6, and the DGMO in the RTI said that none of these surgical strikes took place before 2014. I don't want to get into that because that is an off-ramp from this debate, but the point is that in Congress party it is Parivar Pratham, and anybody who does not adhere to the Parivar is becoming persona non grata. When you speak about performance, what performance Priyanka Vadra showed, that she was elevated to MP and elevated to General Secretary post. In fact, in a poster that was put out yesterday for Rahul Gandhi's birthday, she was ahead of Khadgeji. This is the mindset of the Congress. So even their president is not considered to be important enough in front of the first 3 people, that is the Parivar. And lastly, I would just like to ask Mr. Nikhil Jain, that Nikhil Jain ji, please tell me that if the Congress party agrees with Shashi Tharoor, it is democratic right of Shashi Tharoor. Shashi Tharoor has clearly said that there was no Trump mediation. Why doesn't Rahul Gandhi believe? Shashi Tharoor clearly said that no, it was the DGM of Pakistan who called us, that means Pakistan surrendered. Why doesn't Rahul Gandhi believe it? And why he keeps saying Sindoor was a failure? Then please tell me that Congress party officially believes what Shashi Tharoor has said on Trump mediation and on Operation Sindoor.
Okay, very quick response, and I want to open this up. Yes. On that question, please. Mr. Jain.
Rahul, the point was raised that the Congress party is criticizing Dr. Tharoor and the government for the way they have dealt with President Donald Trump. Is it not for all to see what President Donald Trump is doing? We and the Indian government stand is very clear
Mr.
that
Jain,
there was no.
One second. Just a minute. The question is very straight to you. And it is this. Do you respect Mr. Tharoor's view, or do you think even that has outlived its utility? Simple question. He has said that there has not been any mediation. He has not just said this because he was going as head of a deputation to various capitals. He said it much before that, even before the idea sprang forth. So I want you to very quickly rebut that point that Shahzad Poonawalla is making. Either you respect it, you think there's utility for that view, or do you think it is completely superfluous? Very quickly, just put that down. Yeah.
Rahul, I obviously respect Dr. Tharoor I respect the right of Dr. Tharoor to have that view. I personally am not going to comment on whether I agree with the view.
You don't agree or you don't disagree. You don't want comment. Okay, no comments coming here, viewers. And we're talking about viewing and respecting Mr. Tharoor. Okay, let me open this up, and I want to bring in Mr. Kidwai. Mr. Kidwai, how do you see this debate? Do you believe that Mr. Tharoor is feeling sidelined because the party has realized that perhaps he has taken the statesmanship route and has not wanted to basically enter the trenches with them and reflexively criticize a government?
Rahul, a couple of things. First of all, there is a war of attrition that is going on. Mr. Shashi Tharoor has not crossed the Lakshman Rekha of party discipline. And therefore, I don't see any action. Mr. Tharoor's problems with the Congress leadership is very little to do with that kind of nationalistic or patriotic posture that he has taken or he's traveled abroad. It has a genesis in politics of Kerala, where Mr. Tharoor, rightly so, perhaps some may agree, fancies his chances as the next, chief ministerial candidate. As you know, elections are due early next year. And that is where there is a resistance in the state unit of the party. And therefore, he is not, getting his due. Remember, he had a one-on-one meeting with Rahul Gandhi also, and he wanted apparently, to be projected as a chief ministerial candidate. And Rahul said the, newly elected MLAs would decide it all. We must also remember, Rahul, since we are having a very, kind of serious discussion, there is lack of democracy, internal democracy in all political parties. The Congress, has had since 1980, since BJP was formed, at least has had, 2-3 elections, whatever, you may call them farce or so. But in many other political parties, organizational elections, presidential elections have not taken place at all. And there is no space for a principal dissident leader in Congress or in any other political party. When any political party, lacks a strong leadership, the way Indira Gandhi's leadership was, there is always a scope for dissent and debate.
Okay.
Political parties are not, graveyards.
Yeah.
So there is disquiet, and it is quite. I can go on, quoting what happened between PV Narasimha Rao and Arjun Singh and Rajiv Gandhi and Kamala Tripathi.
No,
and
so
many examples are there.
Yeah. So let me bring in Mr. Srivastava also, very senior journalist. Mr. Srivastava, is ambition, you heard Mr. Kidwai. Yes, maybe Mr. Tharoor says, I've been a 4-time MP, what next? I can't wait for Priyanka Gandhi to become Chief Minister of Kerala, because that might actually happen. Who knows? She's an MP from Wayanad, and you know how she was sworn in to contest that seat without any real credentials. Now, I just want to ask you, is ambition a bad thing in the Congress circles, and does the over-centralized model of the Congress disincentivize aspirations at the party level, at the cadre level? This has been said sometimes about the BJP. Would it not be applicable to the Congress to the power of 10?
So Rahul, I'll just take it from where Rashid Kidwai has left. See, there is no space for a view which is not in sync with your leadership. Can you imagine, just for a minute, that can there be a Shashi Tharoor in the BJP? If the BJP leadership was thinking something else, what would have been his fate? I think it would have been much worse than what is Shashi Tharoor is still in the Congress
party. No, but
party.
two wrongs don't make a right. I mean, if you're going into that.
Remain an MP. No, let me complete.
Yeah.
Let me complete. No, why not? We are having a free-flowing discussion. So let us not constrain ourselves. So there is no space for dissidents, and Shashi Tharoor couldn't have dreamt of taking these kind of positions if he was in a party like either the Communists or the BJP. So this is only the beauty or fallacy
Mr.
or
Srivastava,
fault
you're cherry
whatever of
picking the
Congress
example.
party.
You see, he also contested for, at least he threw his hat into the ring to contest for the presidentship of the party. If you remember, in an open contest.
Yes,
that's
fine.
But he was
That
he
is
was
fine.
basically accused of going against the party itself. So even at the leadership, and what was supposed to be an open election became a closed election, where there was an establishment candidate. There was selection,
Rahul,
not election.
Shivshankar ji, please, allow your guests to speak.
No,
also.
I'm only bringing out the point.
The point is, Rahul.
Yeah.
Rahul. No. I heard Shehzad Poonawala raise that issue. The fact of the matter remains that after that election in which he contested against the wishes of his party leadership, he was given a ticket to contest the Lok Sabha election and he won. He is an MP. Would that have happened in the BJP? I don't know. I don't think so personally. So please let us keep each and every point as it plays. Other thing is, yes, I think there is a problem with the Congress stand on Shashi Tharoor. I do concede that and I agree with that. I think it's on foreign policy issues and particularly on issues of where we had an Operation Sindoor and an India-Pakistan conflict.
Right.
I think the Congress could have shown more generosity and not got into politics. Having said that, there is nothing wrong in asking the government that even if after the last statement of Prime Minister Modi, which Vikram, the Foreign Secretary,
no, but it's not about that. There's nothing wrong in asking the government. You and I agree. I also ask the government these questions. Everyone does. That's not the problem. The problem is when someone is not reflexively being critical. Is there a problem? That's when I think you also agree with me that Shashi Tharoor, there could have been greater magnanimity shown to him. Okay, one thing. Let me just bring in Shehzad Poonawala. He wants to respond on that.
Can I just complete my point? Because can I just complete my point if you don't mind? My only issue is that even after Foreign Secretary said something, Donald Trump again repeated whatever he was saying. All
Look,
these
we can't control. No one can control Donald Trump. And no one and you can't throw him as far as you can. No, you can't trust him as far as you can throw him.
My limited point is
that's a different point altogether.
There is nothing wrong in questioning the government narrative.
Very quickly, let me bring in Mr. Poonawala.
To take on and pick on Manish Tiwari and Salman Khurshid and Shashi Tharoor, I think is grossly unfair.
It's grossly unfair. I think he agrees to that point, yes. But he believes that the BJP is even worse. Yes, Mr. Poonawala.
Yes.
Let me address three main points. Firstly, the point that we try to reduce Tharoorji's entire expression to his ambitions. Look at the patronizing debate that Tharoor having ambition is not okay, but Rahul after losing 99 elections is okay to have all ambitions to become PM. You look at the patronizing way it was said that, oh, he has ambitions in Kerala, therefore he's saying all this, he's not really a nationalist. This kind of patronizing attitude should be left. I understand Sonia Gandhi does it, but journalists should not become Sonia Gandhi. Point one. Point two, then they say that, look, there is democracy that is thriving in Congress. Would he have been able to say this in any other party? Yes, sir, we saw democracy with Sitaram Kesari, sir, how his dhoti was torn. We saw democracy with how Narasimha Raoji's body was not allowed to come in. We have seen democracy also in the manner in which Khadgeji's photo was put in the paper's ad yesterday and how he was kept outside the door in the nomination. This kind of, lack of discipline should not become or be treated as a lack of democracy. In our party, people have free and fair expression, but they do it in a disciplined party forum. That does not mean that we are not having democracy. There are two different issues. And lastly, I want to ask the people who have said that at least there are some elections. Sir, I am a Bhuktbhogi of one of the election process. The last election, Shashi Tharoor questioned. The election before that, Jitendra Prasad ji had questioned. And Ghulam Nabi Azad, while he was in the Congress, said 50 years se hamare yahan pe koi chunav nahi ho. This was while he was in the Congress as LOP.
I think the Congress, let's be honest, and if Sanjay Jha was here, I would have pulled out one of his editorials, he would have quoted them. There is no democracy at that level in the Congress. We all know this. That's one of the reasons why the party has suffered. Rajni Kothari wrote a paper way back, viewers, in the late 70s, early 80s. So I leave it at this. There is a problem. That problem, in my view, the Congress should move many steps to resolve. I hope better sense prevails. Thanks for watching.
Presented by This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Israel has vowed to hit all nuclear sites in Iran. The United States' latest position is there's no scope of negotiations with Iran. While Iran has made it clear that it will not show the Zionists any mercy whatsoever, Israel continues to maintain that Khamenei's death will end the conflict. The United States has said that it will decide on Iran's action in the next 2 weeks, and Iran says that the very fact that America has entered the war exposes Israel's weakness. Israel, on the other hand, has said that it does not need a green light from the United States to strike Iran. The US is still weighing its options on whether or not it must strike Iran. Iran, on the other hand, has refused to budge either. But the question is that will United States get involved at all? It already has partially. While the response so far has been wishy-washy, here's why it may get involved. Because the United States wants to protect Israeli security and deter Iranian escalation. It would also look to prevent nuclear escalation to the war. Moreover, a key reason why it could possibly get its hands dirty is to protect its bases and assets in the region. The United States also would be looking to safeguard its Gulf allies and oil routes. The reasons why the United States might choose to keep its distance are the Trump cabinet, which is much less hawkish compared to his predecessors. While China and Russia have called for de-escalation, things must change if US gets involved with the former duo backing Iran. Furthermore, there are congressional limits on the extent to which US could act. Then there's also the risk of a wide regional conflict. And Trump's biggest challenge would be to choose someone else's war over his own MAGA vision. Remember, that was the promise that ensured his victory. While the United States makes up its mind, the escalation in the Middle East continues unabated. In Iran, the Weapons Research Center has been hit in Tehran. Whether or not Fordo has been hit remains unclear. Pashan, Arak, nuclear complex, the Ardakan, the Sagan, the Isfahan and Natanz all have been hit so far. A majority of nuclear facilities in Iran, of course, have already been targeted. However, Bushehr has not been hit, and an update on this entire mine remains unclear. While suspense and uncertainty looms large about how the conflict would pan out, what cannot be overlooked at this moment is a threat Iran is currently posing. For one, is the patron of Hezbollah, a Shia Islamist group behind attacks in Syria, Iraq and Israel. It continues to back Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad, Sunni Islamist groups targeting Israel and even the West allies. Its Quds force exports terror via proxy militia like Kataib, Hezbollah and Houthis. Iran even backed the Taliban during United States operations in Afghanistan and harbored al-Qaeda leaders including Saif al-Adel and Osama bin Laden's family members. So if US does get involved, here's what would be on its target, as is also being demanded by Israel: for the fuel enrichment plant, Khojur missile production complex, the IRGC command centers, uranium stockpile and centrifuge sites near Natanz and Karach, cyber warfare divisions, radar jamming stations, all of them. On that note, let me also bring in my guests today. I am joined in by Professor Brahma Chulani, who's a strategic affairs expert, Major Manik Jolly, strategic affairs expert, and Hamid Reza Gholamzadeh, who's a director of Diplo House, Joshua Huntman, who's an Israeli strategist and advisor to the hostages' kin. Joshua, if I may begin with you, what is Israel's response to this ambivalence that is prevailing on the part of the United States President Donald Trump?
So thank you for having me. I mean, first of all, the Americans have been with Israel throughout their history from October the 7th, which, let's remember, was on behalf of Iran. You know, Iran declared war against Israel on October the 7th and has been attacking Israel since, from Hamas, from Hezbollah in Lebanon, from the Shia militias in Iraq, from the Houthis, and of course, waves of ballistic missiles coming from Iran itself. Iran is the greatest threat to regional security and world security. And this isn't Israel's war. This is America's war, this is Britain's war, this is India's war. This is a war for the free world right now. We have to remember, Iran stones women in the street. It spreads its Islamofascism around the region. It's an expansionist, colonialist.
Okay. But Joshua, when you say when you are saying that it is the United States war, then why start something where you're not sure you'll be getting assistance from a country that you're blaming or rather attributing the cause for this entire conflict?
Well, we are working together every single day. They're helping us knock out Iranian ballistic missiles on a daily basis. The coordination between Israel and America is closer than ever, and Iran knows it. You have to remember, Israel, in the eyes of the Iranian theocratic regime, is
Hello and good evening. I am Gushin Galan and you're watching Vantage. It's day 8 of the Israel-Iran war and the conflict is still escalating. This is despite Donald Trump's decision to call a timeout. Will the US enter the war on Israel's side? Trump says he'll decide in 2 weeks. Tonight, we bring you down 4 scenarios that could influence his decision. Meanwhile, Israel isn't backing down from its war goals. It still wants to end Iran's nuclear program and push for regime change. Names of potential leaders are already doing the rounds. On the ground, the war is turning deadlier. Israel claims Iran has used cluster bombs. We'll explain what that means for the region. We'll also discuss where does China stand in this conflict and why is Beijing offering to mediate. In other news, India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh is heading to China next week. How is New Delhi managing this delicate relationship? In Africa, the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda have signed a draft peace deal. Why US Vice President J.D. Vance has joined Blue Sky. Why an F-35 jet has been stranded in Kerala for 6 days. And how constant phone notifications are giving users alert fatigue. First, the headlines.